Hello. Welcome to Shadow Tea Tuesdays. How are you doing? I mean, I'm not for sure if you are freezing like some of us. We're bracing with this winter storm that's coming through or that has passed on, but it's been a little chilly. But anyways, I welcome you to the show. It will not just be me today, and I know I have not promoted what's going to happen for today, so I apologize. I apologize in advance. But like the young folks say, life be lifing, right? You know what that means. So when life is lifing like that, you just kind of have to roll with the punches and try not to stress too much about it. So that's what I'm trying not to do at this moment. So, but I do have a special guest, and you have seen her before. So she will be with us so we can talk about all the fun things, well, that would have happened on Martin Luther King's birthday that's coming up. But I do want to tell you about this resource, if I can tell you about this resource real quick. So if you, everyone loves technology, right? And so they do have discounted or free computers. So at PCs for People, individuals and families that meet eligibility requirements can receive a computer or you can get your computer repaired if you need that repaired, internet service, or even learning resources. So to get started and to see if you qualify, you can go to pcsforpeople.org. Again, that's pcsforpeople.org. So check them out and see if you can, if that's something that you can benefit from, or you can share and be a blessing. And you can also help someone else that may or may need their computer repaired or just to get access to a computer. All right, so let's get started with Share the Tea Tuesday segment. Welcome, Nabila. How you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me on. I'm
Yes,
doing great.
yes.
Thank you.
Welcome again to Share the Tea Tuesdays and Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year to you as well.
Did you have a pretty good holiday?
Yeah,
Sort
it's always good to see family. I always like this time of year, so uh,
Oh, that's good. That's
happy happy to ring in another year and do it all over again.
like do it all over again. Now, are you trying to make resolutions? Do you have one of those?
I um I don't because I feel like that's just set myself up for failure. So
He's like, I'm not going down that road, right?
yeah, I usually I think I gave up the resolution thing, but
Okay. Okay. Well,
I,
that's
I
fine.
I set intentions. I set goals. This is what I want to be doing, and you know that's how I roll.
That's how you roll. I like that. Well, intentions are just the same as setting goals, so that way you can kind of remember what you're doing. Because right now, we have people that have set um, resolutions, and we're going into the second week of January, and you may have forgotten what those resolutions are. So it's okay. Just focus on what you want to do and be intentional about it. I like how you set intentions, so that's cool. So I know that you are a busy woman because you told me that last time we met last year. And you have a lot of things that you are planning for the upcoming MLK celebration. Now, do you want to go ahead and give them the announcement about what has happened with MLK celebration
Yes.
this coming weekend on Monday?
So unfortunately, due to the weather, I think some people may have seen that it's going to be like 9, 10 degrees out. And so the parade organizers felt like that wasn't conducive conditions to having a parade just because, we have people line up at 11 o'clock and the parade doesn't start till 2. And you can't really have people just be standing out there like that in 10-degree, 9-degree weather, and the dancers with their little outfits and the marching band with their hands freezing off, and
Right.
maybe their instruments will crack from it being too cold. And just I don't know how many people would even have come out to the parade and stood around in 10-degree weather. So
Good point.
it
Yeah.
is being moved to the 27th, and knock on wood, the weather will be good enough to host that parade. It will be on a Saturday, so that's going to be a first thing, or first time for it to not be on that Monday. So maybe if you usually can't make it out because of work or whatnot, you can come to this celebration. The MLK parade in Oklahoma City is the third largest in the nation. Uh, Third largest.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty good.
we rep hard. So it'd be great to have people who normally can't make it because it's on a Monday be able to make it this year.
Oh yes, I like that. And see, so you've heard that information. You're gonna probably hear it on the news and all these other things because they're gonna make their announcement as well. But I think it's only right to to reschedule because 10 degrees is brutal. I don't know. Were you here in Oklahoma when we had that negative 12 degrees?
Uh, I think I was, but
Mhm. Okay.
I've lived in upstate Michigan and upstate New York for a couple years, so negative
Right.
10 and 20 or 12 was just like kind of a normal winter day. But we're absolutely just not equipped for that in this state. I don't think people have the
Yes.
proper clothing for that. Uh,
Oh,
we don't have kind of in New York they have whole crews whose job is to be clearing snow and clearing the roads 24/7 at night, so that never stops. But we're just not set up for that here in Oklahoma.
wow. I think you are probably the first person I've heard that said we don't wear the proper clothes. And I'm laughing because there are still children that wear shorts and go outside. I mean, they may have on a hoodie, but you're not dressed properly. And you talk about being
Mhm.
freezing and yes, you are absolutely right. And from you with you being from up north and New York, honey, every time I see inches and inches of snow, I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to do that. But you can drive on snow, right? You're an expert.
I mean, I'm not. Again, it's like in Oklahoma, the roads almost are worse with just a tiny bit of snow because we're just not set up. There's no crews, there's no
Mm,
clearing, there's no sand, there's not enough trucks to sand the roads or ice or salt the roads. There's not enough trucks to clear the snow. You have the way it kind of works in upstate New York is all the people who do lawn stuff in the summertime convert to the snow stuff in the wintertime, and
makes
so they'll
sense.
they'll will have 24-hour crews at night working all night to do the paths, to do the roads, to do it's like a full-time job and economy. Just dealing with the snow is an economy in and of itself up there, and we just don't have the infrastructure or the apparatus to take care of it down here. And so just a little bit of ice becomes dangerous where it wouldn't in those other places that are equipped for that.
Now that makes sense. I don't know, Oklahoma, can we do that? I mean, I'm not telling you that you need to because I don't drive on the stuff at all, but that does make sense. Because if you're constantly working on it 24 hours a day, I mean, the roads would be a lot
Mm.
safer, I should say, to drive because we do shut things down with just a little frickle of so, but welcome to Oklahoma. So, but I'm happy that things have been rescheduled in regards to the weather, things beyond our control, because usually for the weekend we have a large variety of different events that are going on from not just Oklahoma Coalition, but other organizations that participate in celebrating MLK Day. And so I think everyone has to bite that bullet of rescheduling if that's well, if they were planning on doing things outside. So but what are some things that you had planned? Because I know you were scheduling things and you said I have a whole list of things that you plan on doing. So can you share with us what's on your radar?
Yes. So just to be clear, um, I believe all the other indoor events like the MLK service and the gospel extravaganza and all of those, that is still going to be taking place this weekend. there'll still be all of that stuff as usual. It's just the parade itself and the outdoor activities that are being rescheduled. But what I had planned and what will happen on the 27th is after the parade, the route kind of dumps out into the Marriott Garden. And before years previously, there wasn't a whole lot to do post parade. And so they've started doing this after awards ceremony. I believe the last year was the first year, and I was kind of put in charge of that, and this year as well. And so they said, "Oh, do you still, do you want to do this year?" And I was like, "Well, if you put me in charge of any event, it's going to turn into a civics event." And they said,
Mhm.
"Okay."
That's fine.
And so I basically wanted to make it kind of like a Black voter summit and have electeds, have any kind of Black electeds or candidates come up and speak, just like 2-minute bits, tell us why voting's important to them or why it matters for our community. But it's not just that. We're going to have entertainment. There'll be performers there. There'll be singers. There'll be the marching band. There'll be, all those different kinds of things. So it's not just a boring kind of civics thing. It's also the after awards ceremony. So if you were in the parade, you get to announce or get to see if you get a trophy or not, or So
Okay.
there'll be also there'll be a school supply drive during that time. And so you can get there'll be backpacks, papers, glue sticks, pencils, composition books. A lot of times we have these back to school drives at the beginning of the school year, but come mid school year they've run out of a lot of these supplies, and so we want to be able to provide that for everybody in the community, for whoever's interested in that. And so that's being sponsored by Continental, so thank you.
Okay, nice. Now let's go back 2 steps. You mentioned awards. So some people are wondering what kind of awards and how do I apply for awards or do you get nominated? How does that work?
So everybody in the parade is eligible to receive is automatically entered in to receive
Okay.
an award. And so basically it's just judged right there and then. I believe the judges are just like pulled from the audience the day of. Like there's 3 or 4 judges that if you want to be involved in the judging process, hang around the judges booth before the parade starts, and they'll probably you'll be eligible to be recruited for judging.
Okay.
and, and so they have sheets, and they kind of mark the scores, and then at the end they'll tally all the scores up, and of course whoever gets the highest, or if there's tiebreakers or whatnot, then they take care of all of that, and then they'll tell us who the winners are, and then we will be presenting the trophies.
But now, look, I don't know, is this considered cheating, but what are they looking for? Like creativity? Are they looking for the style or fashion or
So,
uh,
so I am not clear on the judging rubric. I have not seen it
okay.
personally, but I think it's definitely you want to make the point is to make an impression. So
Oh,
do your bit. So you'll get to the judging station, and it's time to do your little bit right in front of there. Show off, be extra loud, be extra, do whatever you need to do because you want to grab the attention. And uh, definitely they have for kind of like presentation, uh, for artistic, if you're the dancer, the band, or they'll have that kind of judging. But uh, whatever it is, before you get to that judging booth, they'll announce your name, and then you'll have like a minute or two to do your little bit in front of there. So just make sure that you save all the energy, and make sure that
right.
you're in formation and your lines are nice, or whatever's needed when you get there.
Okay. All right. Well, she has given you guys a hint because I don't think I knew that there were awards at the parade. That would be nice to know who wins and go from there. But so now you guys have an extra 2 weeks to prepare since we're not going to do it on Monday. It'll be on the 27th. So you have a few weeks. And even if you weren't planning on doing something, now you know to add a little something in your show. I know I probably won't do anything knowing me. I'll just be normal. Just hi. That'll probably just be my part. So, but I think that's neat. So where will they meet for the awards? Like, I know you said Mirror Garden, so are we just gonna walk right there and meet in the forum
Yes.
area?
So,
Okay.
so if you're familiar with the Marriott Gardens, there's that water stage, and that's
Okay.
where it's scheduled to be at. If it's still too cold for people to be sitting outside, we might move it to a different section by the ice skating ring. There's like a pavilion. So that's kind of like a backup location. If it's too cold, we'll see. But it is scheduled for outside in the water stage pavilion.
Okay. Okay. Nice. And so this happens at the conclusion of the parade, so they have to stick around for the award show, and then you're also doing the Black Voters Forum.
So there's no forum. It's just going to have people come and talk about the importance. So there'll be little things like a trivia game, like an MLK trivia game that the audience
Okay.
can participate in. And if you get the answer right, you can get a T-shirt. And so there'll be like fun little things like that, and there'll be entertainment. What we really want people to do at the parade is to sign up for. If you're, of course, if you're not registered, we want you to register to vote. But the second thing that we ask people is for to sign up for the absentee ballot. And so, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk a little bit about the absentee ballot and why that's important to sign up for. So, a lot of people have this misconception of I don't need to sign up for an absentee ballot for the year because I like to vote in person. Great, keep voting in person. Getting an absentee ballot by mail will not keep you from voting in person. You can still just ignore your ballot that comes in the mail and go vote in person. But what it will do if you sign up for the year, so that way you don't have to sign up each election or worry about, hey, I'm going to be out of town and I forgot and I didn't,
Yes.
just sign up for it in January. And the real important thing of why we want people to do it is because it will send you the ballot a month before each election. So it serves
Okay.
as a reminder. And then it gives you time because then you know what's on the ballot. You know exactly what the ballot is going to look like. So the
Mm-hmm.
like the language on the ballot, it'll give you time to research. It gives you time to talk about it with other people. It lets you know exactly what's on the ballot. And it gives you that time. But most importantly, it serves as a reminder. So last year, in this state, we had an election almost every month except 1 month. No other states like that. Every other state, you have elections 2, maybe 4 times a year at most. Our state definitely, I believe the reason why we have such low voter turnout is just like voter fatigue, right? So it's just like, ain't nobody got time every month to be, taking a Tuesday off to be doing all that. And so we're trying to basically serve as that reminder and alleviate some of the election fatigue. Another push around that, and we're bringing that to some of the churches here on the east side, is that you will be able to bring your ballot to church and have it be able to be notarized the 3 Sundays before election, and there will be stamps. So if you don't have time to, take off and vote and do all that because they don't make it convenient, you can you're already coming to church, just bring your ballot and there'll be a notary right there and there'll be stamps right there. So you can just go ahead and take care of it. Another reason why it's nice to have a ballot is say you weren't planning on it, but you got sick or you don't feel good or somehow something comes up, a
Something comes up.
relative, you need to go out of town all of a sudden, and that way you have your ballot right there and then, and just get it taken care of and then you don't have to worry about it.
Those are some great tips because things happen, and it can even be weather related. You know, if you're a person that doesn't like to drive in the rain, or extremely cold temperatures, that would definitely help. I do like the part where you said you can bring it to your church and someone will notarize it for, because there are not a lot of notary. Um, I mean, you can't get things notarized at church lately. You have to kind of find some place to go, like or your bank or somewhere else, or if you know someone at work that could do it for you. So I really do like that component to educate us more about absentee voters. Because to be truthful, I always thought it was for if you're not physically capable of going, but that's not the case.
Yes, you don't have to have some states you have to show that you're sick or disabled. We are not that state. So you don't have to have any rhyme or reason to vote absentee. Uh, anybody, it's open for anybody and everybody. Another thing on that notary is that, just to let you know, every library has a notary. And so you can stop by a library. And the thing about getting your ballot notarized is all notaries have to do it for free. So wherever there's a notary, if it comes to your ballot for election time, they have to notarize it for free. So even if you went to your bank and got it notarized there, they will have to do it without cost. But in terms of convenience, I believe the library will notarize anything for free regardless. Don't quote me on that. There might be some small fee, but definitely not on the ballots. So anywhere that there's a notary, you can get it done for free. We're just trying to make it convenient so you don't have a second or third place that you have to go to. If you're going to church anyway, you can just bring your ballot along and get it taken care of right then and there.
Yes, I like that. And I did not know that the library has notaries. That's a good resource because some people are sleeping on the library system. We're not using it we're not using it like we should, because they do have a lot of resources there to help us. So that's a good point. Now, you mentioned that um with you having that conversation on the 27th, and that education component just about why you should definitely go and register to vote, and then also sign up for absentee votes. Does that also comply to college students when
Yes.
they go? Okay.
So actually, what I would love for college students to do is to register where you are on campus. Register at your dorm address instead of at your parents' home. So you think about the number of kids that go to Langston. If they all registered in Langston and then voted in Langston,
Yeah.
you know, there
Yeah.
wouldn't be an election that we would lose up there. If you talk about a place like UCO, if all of those kids registered in Edmond, well, that would shift things in Edmond for sure because
Sure.
the
Definitely.
younger generation is not voting Republican. So there you go. Same
Right.
with OCU and same with a lot of these colleges. So and I told the college students that in Chickasha, at USAO, I was like, listen, like nobody votes out here. Like, so
Wow.
if you all just registered, like your campus could carry the election. And so again, there's people who do notaries all over campus, and
Mhm.
they have it at I believe at your campus library as well. But even if they don't, there'll be somebody in some office that does notaries. And so yeah, sign up for absentee ballots. It'll remind you that there is an election, number one. It'll tell you what's on the ballot, not just what's on the ballot, but exactly how it's going to appear when you go to vote, right? Because it's the exact language. It is the official ballot. And then it gives you time to do that research. And if you happen to be out of town or sick or something, you can just go ahead and do it ahead of time. And it's also a convenience factor, right? So you don't have to take time out of your day to, go and vote. They have these early voting times on Thursday and Friday, but it's like if I can't take off work on Tuesday, what makes you think I can take off work on Thursday and Friday?
Thursday
You
and
know what I mean?
Friday. Yeah, you're right. It's like, oh, it's early voting. Like, oh, I can't even get off. Like something happened, or you don't have the time to go and do that. I do want to say for a college student, does it matter how long they've been at the university? For instance, so if I just enrolled and I'm from a different state like Illinois, should I wait 6 months until I'm there and I've established a resident, or am I able to go ahead and apply for that absentee ballot now?
So you definitely, I think you can just go ahead and apply and say this is the residence, but it may be best to also do that with a driver's license. So to
Oh,
have
yeah.
to establish your residency so that there's not kind of um, a
Any
doubt,
contradicting? Yeah, I
right?
got
Because
you.
you know they'd be looking at us under a microscope.
Right. That's true. That's true.
So
Because I,
I
because I was going to say a lot of students that end up going to university, sometimes they end up staying for a long time. And so I think that would be a good component for them to look into signing up for absentee ballots. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a resident in Oklahoma, you can register. But again, I would make sure that you change your driver's license and all that kind of good stuff
Make it
along with it.
match.
Make it
Yes.
match just so that you know how it goes.
Yes. So there's no issues because we don't want any issues. Definitely. Okay. Well, I think that's a good step. So what is your ultimate goal from having this discussion with the youth? Because there would be a lot of children, adolescents, young adults out celebrating Martin Luther King celebration. So what is your ultimate goal to connect with them?
So my ultimate goal is there's kind of a tendency for, how do I say it? They'll take revolutionary people, kind of strip all the meaning out of what they did, and they just become these symbols with no meaning. And so my ultimate goal with MLK is not just to make it a symbol without any meaning. So everybody likes to quote the I have a dream or whatever, but nobody wants to talk about letters from a Birmingham jail. Nobody wants to talk about, you know, nobody wants to talk about the real. They really want to whitewash MLK, and that's why I think the civics component is so important, because it's like, yes, we should celebrate. Yes, it was a great figure, but it's not about. We honor this man not with a parade. We honor this man by carrying on his work, and the work is not over. And it's not going to be over anytime soon. And so on MLK's deathbed, he kind of said, I'm afraid I've integrated my people into a burning house. Uh,
Mm,
and so I very much, it's almost a little haunting, but like I feel that so much, because a lot of the fights back in the day, it was very obvious, right? Because there was signs that would say Negroes need not apply. You sit on here. This is the white fountain. This is the black fountain. This is the white restroom. This is the black restroom. You knew. You didn't have to
mhm.
guess how people felt, and you
That's true.
knew. You knew that your community was being targeted, and you knew you were being targeted because you were black.
Right.
and
It's
so
always in front of your face.
it was
Always.
always in front of your face. And so you weren't delusional about it. And so people, like, our community was a lot more together. We were a lot more aware of the fact that we needed to help each other out. We were way more aware of the importance of our community, because we knew that this is it. We only have each other. Uh, I think some of that awareness went away, and what people don't realize is it's the same people. Like, they haven't gotten away; they just gone underground. So instead of, they can't outright redline you, but they do things like, oh, we have all these districts, and we have the zoning here, and so it's just like, okay, we're not we're not legally redlined, but why are all the schools with minority children here and they don't get any money and they don't get any funding,
Mhm.
and the HVAC system's falling apart and there's like lead pipes and lead paint, and then you have, same city, but where white children live, they have all the resources and the nice athletic field and the this and the this and the that, and so now they get to say, "Oh no, it's not because of racism," but you
Right.
know, uh,
Right. But what is it though? Like,
but I know the tree from the fruit. So like the fruit that you were producing, it looks racist.
mm,
But then of course now they add that element of gaslighting, because when you point that out, they're like, oh, it's just, you're just making that up and that's just in your head, and you had Obama as a president, so racism's over, right? you,
yeah,
so that's
that's not how
that's
that
kind of
works.
what's happening, is like when they knew segregation was ending, they formulated, and so this is what it means to have systemic racism. What it means is that it doesn't matter, you can elect the most progressive person of color that you want, it doesn't change, because the system itself has the built-in kind of racialized elements to it regardless, and that's what it means to have systemic racism. And so uh, we have these things like housing zoning, uh, that's all very racist, and like I said, the most of the racism happens at a municipal level. So things like police oversight. Oklahoma City has one of the deadliest per capita police forces in the country. This is okay. This is why you need to pay attention to local election. Forget the presidential. Pay attention to that. That's all good and dandy. That's not going to affect your day to day life. The municipal, local levels, this is what
That's
affects
going
your
to
day to day
affect
life.
it.
And
Yeah.
that's what people are not paying attention to. So things like police oversight, that is done by city council. Right now, there can't be police accountability because only 3 out of the 7 people sitting on city council have a mindset that the police need to be reformed. So if you have a problem with that, you need to be voting. Uh, and you need to organize people and you need to get involved, and it's more than just you voting. That's just the bare minimum.
Hmm. It
you
is.
know
It is.
there's
You have to do a little bit more than that.
you
And
got to do a little bit more than that.
I think you know how you mentioned earlier that his statement was haunting to you because, and this is just me, but I feel like we've kind of lost the vision of what we want to do and where we want to go. As we speak, history has been rewritten or erased or whatever term you want to use. It's making it to where you really would not know that history unless someone taught it to you. Because you also have the books that are being banned or
Hmm.
disappeared and all that. So if you don't know it, it's not
Hmm.
there. It's kind of like out of sight, out of mind, and you wouldn't even know anything about it. So, um,
And that's the danger.
yeah, big time. That's the danger because what else does Martin Luther King stand for besides I had a dream? Okay, we got that, and not to say that that's not prevalent, but it's just a point of what else is there? Like there's more to that. What led up to I have a dream? And girl, we can talk about this forever and ever, but I think this would be a great discussion, especially when we have February. It's our Black History Month. What are we going to do with Black History Month? Are we just going to do what we normally do? Or are we going to do something different? Um, I don't know. That's a good question. Well, I'm asking myself that. But I think it's important for us to have community leaders like yourself, and you make partnerships with other people that have the same mindset and like values. to be impactful in the community and to make sure that we're understanding what's going on. Because it's not like you're being deceitful or anything. You know, you're being truthful and being impactful and educating people about what's going on and why it's important for you to exercise your right to vote, or even just understanding what's going on in your community. Because if they don't know, then they don't know. You know, and I'm gonna say this last little bit. I feel like people are, I don't want to say people, but I'm gonna say the younger generation are pushing the notion of why should I even vote? Because they gonna do what they want to do anyway. So why even waste my time? And we have to really work on changing that mindset, because it's not just about who's going to be the president and all that. It's much deeper than that. So, and you made me think of a an idea. So I'll tell you about it afterwards. Cause I'll, you know how I do. I'm like, ooh, idea, ding ding, like squirrel. But but we're gonna work with that together. But I think the church that you're going to on the 27th. Which church is that?
So in Lawton, so let me just back up a little bit with kind of some of the work I do to give it context. In the last December 12th election in Lawton, there was that race between Larry Bush and Dusty Devers. Unfortunately, the race did not go the way that we wanted. My involvement in that election was to do Black voter turnout, and from that point, it was a success. So for with 3 weeks time and a very shoestring budget, we were able to increase Black voter turnout by 15 to 41% in some precincts. So I would consider that a major victory, and
Yes.
to we're not losing that momentum. We're building on that. So again, so in the morning, I will be in Lawton on the 27th. We'll be hosting a kind of a community meeting. And I really hope that we can do something similar very soon in Oklahoma City. But we're bringing together all the churches, all the Black churches there, and all the social groups like the Divine Nine and the NAACP and all the kind of different social groups down there, and a couple of veterans groups and all that kind of stuff. Um, and we're really going to have a community discussion of, one, what are the community needs, and then two, how do we organize and get us all together so that we're rowing the same way. So the thing about it is if we the voting average, or the voter participation in Oklahoma is so low. Only 25% of our state votes. And that's in presidential elections. But what that means is there's some real opportunity. It does not matter how many registered Republicans there are, because if only 25% of of the voting population votes, it doesn't matter. What matters is who shows up. And so I calculated it out. If we can get in Oklahoma City, if we can get 60% of eligible Black voters to vote, we would not lose any election. Every election we would win.
Wow.
And 60%
Sixty
is
percent.
not an unreasonable number. In other states, that is the normal average voter participation. So I'm not asking for a miracle. It's not like an 80% or 90% or even 70%. So just
Just
with
60.
it's 60. So but what this means is this: we have to have a collective buy-in to understanding that this is important and this is what we're going to do. It cannot be one organization. You need everybody in an election, right? It's the
Mhm.
numbers, it's the volume. Okay, so we need every group in on it. So come election time, you're reminding your members, you're doing your part. That's what I mean about elections are not just voting. The voting is the bare minimum. We need you to reach out to your neighbors, get involved, whatever. But if we have a community buy-in like that, we can get that number up to 60%. And then once that happens, that also means that we would be in charge of primaries, right? So all these kind of Democratic candidates who don't do nothing for Black people, we can get rid of that. and,
Right.
and you know, the collective community power is if they know that the Black community shows up like that, that means
Yeah.
that they're going to have to think every decision that they do, they're going to have to think, oh, is this going to make the Black community happy at me or mad at me? Because
Hmm.
they know next election, if they don't make us happy, that's it, you know, because then they know that we are people that they have to answer to. And that's how you, and we can constantly be keeping people accountable. It's keeping these, so it's, that's another second part. Elections, that's just the beginning. The second is keeping them accountable
Accountability. Yeah.
to do what they said that they're going to do, and not just take our vote and then, you know, turn their back, which is what
Right.
they're doing right now because they feel comfortable doing it right now because there's not been any repercussions on them so far.
Hmm.
So there's a real opportunity for us to build community power. There's been hundreds of dollars, millions of dollars in hundreds of years invested in making the Black community feel like we don't have power, right? So
But we do.
the thing that the colonizer is most interested is your mind. And so there's been a lot invested into making you feel like you don't matter, you don't have a voice. It doesn't, that disenfranchisement, you know, nothing that you ever do is going to matter anyway. There's been a lot of time, effort, money spent on that. And so it is, we have to have grace for our community and for our people, and realize that we're overcoming that collectively. But that's why it's our job to reach out and connect with people to tell them, no, you really matter and you're important.
Right. And that does, it has played a major part in our community because it's like in one ear and out the other. And once you keep seeing that marketing that they're playing, they fall into it. They fall
Hmm.
into it. And now with digital devices being so easily acceptable, you get to see it more and more on, social media and all these other places to where it's kind of like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that was going on. Yes, it has been going on for a long time. So I think that's something that we have a lot of work to do. Even way back when Martin Luther King was alive, we had a lot of work to do then, and we still have a lot of work to do now.
Hmm.
Um, and I think at some point we have to not give up because somewhere in that generation from then to now, we start to not be as what's the word I'm looking for? Not as uh, I don't want to say strong of a force, but community driven,
Hmm.
as far as our community. So, it takes a village. When we say that, we actually mean that. So if I see something happening, I want to make sure that I'm taking care of what happened. I don't think we do that anymore. It's just kind of like, oh, I'm only taking care of myself. Oh, yeah, I saw that, but I'm not doing it. Or, I don't know why. I don't know why or where that
So
came from, but
there's been a real shift with the, I call it, get your bag culture.
ah, that's probably the word I'm looking for. Right.
And so everything has been of, well, there's all these problems going on. I feel powerless to change all the problems around me. So I'm just going to focus on getting my bag and kind of at the expense of everybody else, or just screw everybody else, type of thing. And if it's like, if there's every successful Black person, you'll get to the point where you have to make the decision of whether you are aligned with the community or aligned with getting your bag. You know, it's literally
Right.
a temptation that will be presented in front of you, right? So it's like, because once you go a certain steps up corporate ladder, it muzzles you, right? It muzzles you into, you can't be out here being an activist and doing this because you work at, you know,
XYZ. Yeah.
OG&E and that type of thing. And so that's part of um, that individualism
Right.
that people are more concerned with the individualism than with the community. And it's not their fault, right? It's not like I'm blaming those people, like, but that happens, and that's kind of like the tearing of the community, where it used to be successful. When you were successful in our community, there was very much that ceiling of like, you had to stay within your success, stayed within the community, so you didn't really have to compromise your blackness to go get your bag. But
That's true.
now I feel like there's a lot of compromise between your blackness and getting the bag. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, your blackness doesn't pay the bills, right? You can't deposit your blackness in the bank. And so at the end of the day, you got to have a roof over your head and food on your plate. And so you end up doing this kind of like forced toned down ness. I've been very fortunate kind of with what I'm doing, where I don't have to do that, but I realize that that's a privilege, right? That I don't have to compromise uh, getting a paycheck and also being unapologetically black and
Right.
unapologetically advocating for my community and calling out people who need to be called out and that type of thing. And so there is that, like in the beginning of hip hop, it was talking about the struggles and the people and the this and the that, and then you get into the P Diddy Jay-Z hip hop, where you know it was all the capitalism of, they shifted away from the people's struggle into being about booties and dollars
Right.
and that wasn't originally what hip hop was about, right? That was kind of like our, it was like resistance music, right? It was like a
Right.
pushback between by of police brutality and the bad living conditions, and kind of telling your experience living in a lower income neighborhood. And then it shifted into this like hyper materialistic, Air Jordans and
Right. And fashion and uh,
dollar bills and booty
real.
shaking, and it didn't used to be that. And so that is kind of my warning to, and our community really has, um I'm not saying that that's the blame, and I'm not saying that music isn't fun either. I'm not trying to make
No.
make make commentary on anybody's stuff, but it is, there has been a kind of deteriorating of the communities, not just black communities, everybody's community. So we've become a increasingly more isolated society. But I think it's like that hyper focus on materialism, the lack of community. I've seen like a lot of lack of empathy.
Yes, definitely.
Been troubling, like before, when somebody was going through something, people would go straight away like, are you okay, is something happening? And now like the first response is like, whip out your phone and record it.
Right. That's true. They're not actually stepping in and doing something instead of just recording it all the time. Yeah, definitely right. And I think that's the thing, that so many over the years things have changed. You
Hmm.
know, and our culture has definitely changed a little bit as well, because things are not, and even traditions are not the same as they used to back when. So we have a long way to go. I still believe that hopefully the dream will come true. I'm always an optimistic person. I think we just have to continue to do the work
Hmm.
and not to leave our people behind.
The biggest thing
Um,
that you can do is care. care
Definitely.
about your community, care about your fellow people, care about the people you go to church with, care about your friends, care about your family, care
Mhm.
about your community. All those other things will come. All the other civic things will be a natural result of caring. But first, you got to care, and so that's really the biggest thing that we're facing is just apathy, like the not caring about stuff, and that's dangerous. um, your silence is not going to protect you. Your
No,
silence will not protect you.
it will
Uh,
not.
so we need people to care, and then we need you to speak up and say something. You know,
Definitely. Okay. Well, you are going to be a busy, busy lady all 2024. But definitely want to make sure that we support you in any way possible. So if you are out in the Lawton area on January 27th, she will be at, no, which church on January 27th? Did you mention the name of it?
it's not a church. It'll be at the VFW post.
Oh,
I want to say
VFW.
1192 or 192. The black VFW. You know what I'm talking.
Okay.
That one.
Okay.
That
So
one.
Lawton, make sure that you pull up at that spot on January 27th, so that way you can meet this phenomenal lady and to bring your kids, your grandkids, your family, encourage them to come out and have this discussion about what we can do. And don't forget that celebrations are still going on. I think it's pretty cool to have celebrations 2 weekends. So there are still the Gospel Fest and all these things that's happening for MLK, but the MLK parade will be on the 27th. So due to the 10-degree weather that we're expected to have in the great state of Oklahoma. So with that being said, you can still come and support because we definitely want to make sure that we support and do what we need to do. Now, Nebula, I want to tell you, I want to bring you back for this idea. I'm gonna tell you about it later because I know you got somewhere else to be. But I'm gonna tell you about it later because I think this is something that we can kind of stir the pot up just a little bit, and probably have that community discussion. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll bring it. I'll bring it to your attention later. She's like, please don't add nothing else to my
Yeah,
list. I have
I
enough.
was just gonna say, for a reminder of events on this weekend. So Saturday, the 13th, there's an MLK Gospel Extravaganza from 8 to 9 a.m. Then on Sunday, the 14th, there will be a panel talk on civil rights, and that'll be Greater Mount Olive at from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. I will be on that panel. If anybody
Okay.
wants to 3 to 4 o'clock that Sunday is the annual MLK program that's still going on. Um, and then later on at 6 to 7, the Oklahoma City NAACP is having a cross cultural dinner program. So
Oh, okay.
that's going on too. So plenty of stuff to be doing this weekend. Stay plugged into the community, and I guess my biggest message is just care about one another. That's the best that we can be doing for ourselves.
Yes, definitely. Care about one another. We all are in this together.
Yeah,
Definitely. Well, thank you, Nebula. I appreciate you coming on Strategy Tuesdays again to share all the wonderful things that you're having and much, much, much success to everything that you do and everything that you touch. I do believe in your mission and your the value of what you're doing for our community. And so you guys have heard a wealth of information. So don't forget to go back and uh, press rewind in case you didn't forgot what some of the things that she's saying. But I'm going to try to make sure I share some things because I know I'm behind on sharing. But it's okay. Hey, things happen in life, so at least I'm still here. That's a good thing, right? So thank you for following Charity Tuesdays. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're on LinkedIn, I'm almost at 150 people, so I'll be able to go live there soon, and we'll be able to air the segments on there, which will be a plus. But until then, remember to be intentional, be insightful, and definitely be impactful in everything that you do. And until next week, y'all stay blessed. Thank you, Nebula. Have a good one.
see you. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Bye bye.